Hello, y'all. I am back again with part two of your mental problem and the narcissist. And make sure you watch part one first. It's very essential that you check out part one first. And I am going to navigate you more into logical thinking and how you should deal with these situations and how the future of it can turn out. Why it turns out that way. Should it turn out that way? And your part in that. And we're going to get this right so that the right people can come in your life and you can be in their life. So here I go. Once again, this is part two. And the reason this part is going to be so important is because you might be wondering, you might have listened to part one and said to yourself, well, I'm not going to talk to her at all. People view things differently. So you might say, well, if that was my biological sister or brother, I wouldn't talk to him at all. But see, the reason you might feel that way is because I pointed this out in another video that I did on how the problem is, it's just like when you're dealing with narcissists and psychopaths. The problem was y'all slept with the people. However, I use this example in one video like, oh, I think I mentioned deliver your newspaper. Like you was sleeping with this person, but really their true purpose in your life was to deliver you your newspaper when you're retired. Something to that effect. So when you remove certain titles or when certain titles are to be removed, like for example, my biological sister that I mentioned in part one, a big bulk of why I did this video, maybe in the spiritual world, I shouldn't be really looking at her as like a real sister. I should be looking at her as more of a friend. That's a friend. However, maybe not even a good friend because none of my friends that if I referred to them as sis would have said anything about it, right? So you have to evaluate that. But what I'm not going to do is have a mental problem and refer to this woman as sis when she's not referring to me as sis and she's complaining about it, along with telling me not to call her by her first name. And what you want to do in these type of situations, I use no profanity. I display no anger. A lot of times people are in miserable places in their life and they trying to include you in the misery. Like I said in part one, I had an instant blessing. And that was the Lord's way of shining down. Like, good job, girl. It ain't you that's the problem, it's her. This is your biological sister's problem. And another thing that happened, the same particular day that this happened, I'm going to say today, this happened. I mean, by the time you get this video, it won't literally be today, but today this happened. And so, as I continue to talk to my sister, biological sister, later, I received a call from a narcissistic gentleman. And this is a gentleman that, if he's talking to what he claims is a relative or something, he'll get off the phone with me. And narcissistic people make you feel like you can't call them back if they talking to their family. It's just this whole vibe that I don't really entertain. However, I let him know that I was talking to my sister. So that showed that gentleman that I don't have a mental problem because he understands that, oh, well, she's putting her sister first, just like he would put his auntie first. And a lot of times with that particular gentleman, if he's talking to his aunt or whatever, or whomever he says he's talking to, we don't talk after. So I didn't call that man back because I don't have a mental problem. Does that make sense? Because that's part of the mental disorder. And that particular gentleman probably will contact me. If he lives till he's 100, he probably will call me till he's 100, because what he admires about me is I don't have that mental problem. And most of the women that he deals with has the mental problem, and the mental problem is kissing his ass. And I do that particular gentleman like that. There's no title. I'm not married to that man. I don't live with that man. I'm not dating that man. I'm not sleeping with that man. There's no obligation there. So what I do is this. Okay, this is what will make it where you don't have the mental problem. Allow them to take the title. Okay. And if you're mentally stable in this, they take the title. So because you're mentally stable, you're going to not want the fucking title no more. I don't want the title. I don't want my sister to call me sister. I don't want to call her sis. She's a biological sister. I don't want none of them titles. So you release the title. You accept that sometimes they didn't even give you a title in the first place. So for situations where it was a dating situation, y'all never was husband or wife. They never considered you their common law wife or husband, because some people don't believe in the paperwork part. They think it's a scam. However, you're not even common law married. You're not spiritually married. You didn't do any of that. So they never gave you the title, or they took the title. And so because you are mentally stable, which means you should be mentally stable, you don't beg for the title and you don't want it no more. You let the title go. And then when you're really mentally stable, you don't do the duties of the title that they're not giving you. So, okay, let's go into this. And a lot of people, man, and ladies, they don't. This is the crazy part of this. See, this is the problem with these kind of people. I'm the type, I'm willing to not do the work for the title. Okay? Or the title that you remove. So if you remove mom title, sister title, okay, well, you remove mom title, so I don't bring extra groceries to your house. See, I don't allow people to use me and play me. So here's another situation. And so if you do not have a mental problem and you ain't out of your freaking mind, what I explained to you, my biological sister, you know what? I'm going to call her my mama's daughter. My mama's other daughter. See, I got to catch myself, because you might have caught it already. I'm going to call her my mama's other daughter. That's the correct thing I should be calling her, because she doesn't want me calling her real sis. I no longer feel comfortable calling her sis, even if I don't add the word real onto it. She expressed that she told me not to call her even by her name that my mom named her. So I should call her my mama's other daughter. That's what she should be called. I should stop calling her biological sis, because it's a contradiction of the lesson. And I apologize to y'all. I did not intend to contradict this lesson in part one or part two. I'm human, y'all. I'm learning here too. This is the first time that this has ever happened to me. I've never in my entire life called anyone sis or sister and they told me not to do it. I've never experienced this. Please give me a pass, y'all. I've never experienced this. Never. This is my first time experiencing this. However, going into the responsibilities, okay, this is the catchy part that people like my mama's other daughter expect. They expect, even if it's subconsciously, they expect loyalty. Okay? They take away titles, even if it's a husband taking it away from his wife, or a wife taking it away from her husband. A wife is now calling her side dude her husband, not even referring to her husband by his name anymore. All of the husband benefits, the wife is now giving to her side dude, and vice versa. It could be the man giving all the wife benefits to his side chick. Now he pays the side chick bills. He no longer pays the wife's bills. He no longer pays the bills at home. He still lives with the wife, but he's paying the side chick bills. So she really is being treated like the wife, and he no longer calls his wife his wife. So in cases like this, in a case of an emergency, it's crazy how these particular type of relatives, DNA relatives, they actually expect benefits. They expect when they die that you fly in. Because you're supposed to see narcissistic people, narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, one of their problems is they expect you to continue your sister and husband and wife duties and your cousin duties or your friend duties, but they don't want to continue to provide for you and treat you right. It's a one-sided relationship. So if you've had an experience like this, please leave a comment. I haven't had the experience where I've never called anyone brother or sister in my life and they rejected it. I never had it. So with that being said, at least I know it's not normal. So that's another thing. When you don't have a mental problem, when it comes to these type of people, you have to say, well, this ain't normal. This is some weird shit. And you know what? If a lot of people recognized it wasn't normal, they wouldn't be harmed the way they are. They wouldn't be harmed. They would be safe because all the red flags are there. A lot of times, before somebody even kills someone, and it's a relative that kills them, one of the signs is they don't even refer to them by their name anymore. They don't call them a name at all. They stop addressing you by your name, period. And so these things, and you got to stop making excuses for people. Oh, they're a sociopath. They're upset. So are you. A lot of times you got way more stress going on than that freaking sociopath or psychopath or narcissistic person or narcissist that you're dealing with. You got a lot going on. But I gotta help you, and this is helping me too, understand not to have this mental problem. And that's the worst mental problem you can have, is the one they can't diagnose you with. They can't diagnose you as being too nice empath, too nice this, too nice that. And never give people what they don't want. And it's a reason why things happen. It just is. It's just a reason why it happens. And the thing with me is this. This is one thing about me. I'm able to explain intellectually why I do what I do. So you're confronted. Like I did a video about your no contact is question. So, okay, you asked, say God forbid the person die. God forbid. And somebody say, well, I noticed you didn't come in town for the funeral. What's going on? Why you didn't show up for your sister, man, or ma'am? It could be a man or a woman. Why you didn't show up for your sister? I'm just saying, I'm not saying I would do that, but I'm just giving you an example. And I would explain, I felt uncomfortable. I felt like she didn't want me to be a sis no more. This is the events that happened before the passing away. And when I explain it, people back off. Cause see, I'm coming with facts. I even did a video about it. Right now I'm doing a part two to what she did. I don't even have to answer the question. If I was questioned about that, I could just send them, let me send you these video links. I actually did a video about this behavior. I don't think this woman loved me. I lost feelings. I made the phone calls, I donated, but I didn't fly in. I just didn't want to go to that funeral. And it just shuts it down. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And then a lot of times that person will apologize to you for what the dead person did. Or say some kind of comment like, yeah, that would have pissed me off too. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked that part. That's how that works. Because in my case, I'm able to intellectually explain what happened based on facts. I didn't come in town to see her very often in this other case because she was always threatening and cussing me and calling me names. I just don't like them kind of people. And what you might find is that, and this goes back to a lot of people's belief system. Family is not just people that are DNA connected. That's why a lot of people love their friends more than their family. They can call their friends sister or brother. They're not, their friends are not cruel and mean and stuff like that. So I use logic. So what I didn't allow it to do is ruin my day. I continued, and I also didn't get snappy. I continued. I stayed on the phone with her for a couple of more hours. I showed her that I'm the bigger person in that matter. And that's showing that you don't have a mental problem too. That shows my mama's other daughter that, oh, she just brushed it off. She cool. But see, this is when you got to have a plan. See, she's not planning for real. She's starting shit. She's going off of some bullshit emotions. She's and I even told her in the conversation, I know you going through some things and I know you agitated with work situations and things in your personal life, but don't take it out on me. I even mentioned that to her. But see, when people are agitated and annoyed, they use other people as a punching bag, if that makes sense. And I ain't nobody's punching bag. I'm just not. I don't deserve to be the punching bag. My intentions was genuine. And like I said, just changed the relationships. Like I said, that's my mama's other daughter. That's it. It's not, I need to stop calling her sis. That's my mama's other daughter. My mama would be proud of me right now. Like, that's right. You better, yep. My mama wouldn't even support it. I've had discussions with my mom about my siblings. And my sister, she's came back and told me stuff about other stuff that her and my mom talked about. I never even told her some of the stuff that my mom said. Because there's no point of it. It's not necessarily painting my siblings in the best light, but my mom, before she left this earth, she tried to give me the best advice regarding all of her other kids, my brother and my sister. And I have another brother that's not by my mama. Okay. So my mom prepared me for this, if this makes sense. All you got to do is look back on what the deceased people told you. They already warned you about this kind of stuff. They didn't necessarily tell you how it was going to happen or, knowing, okay, on this day, she's going to tell you not to call her real sis or she's going to ask you, why do you call her that? Right? I was asked, why am I calling her that? And then that was last Saturday or Sunday or something like that, or whenever that was. And then she told me not to call her by her first name. And go to part one. I talked about that. I'm not like, I don't go too extreme with people. I could call you by your first name. That's your first name. If it's anything I don't have to call you, is a nickname or pet names or whatever. So you gotta show people that you don't have a mental problem, because that's what they think, y'all. They think y'all got a mental problem for real. And people think they got good souls, just like I used the example in part one of that black lady that went up to the prison to forgive that gang member that's still raping, robbing, and beating up people while he's in the penitentiary. That's not a changed man. And she hugged and shook the hand, and she did all of that for that gang member man that murdered her son that was on drugs. And that's she got a mental problem, y'all. I don't care what you read in the Bible, in Matthew, in the book of Matthew, about love your enemies. That ain't right, y'all. That scripture is not going over mental problems. That scripture alone, if taken the wrong way, has given a lot of people mental problems. Because when I seen it, and I'm a sweethearted person, y'all, don't get me wrong, I always look for a way to do the sweet thing. And I gave an example. I could even see her doing it if that man had really changed. Now, when I seen the people, some of the other cases, I saw white and black people doing it. The other case, it was a white family, and they went up. This particular white guy, it was him and his friend. They had raped and murdered this woman's daughter when she was young. And I think she was up at the prison, her and her granddaughter, about the situation, or her and her daughter's other sister or something like that. It might have been the other sister, granddaughter. And this one particular white guy that had raped and that had participated in raping and killing her daughter, he had changed his life too, y'all. He was filled with tears. Like, basically, them forgiving him allowed him to be able to live. Because he was basically like borderline suicidal. So when I seen that situation, and the race don't matter, I'm just giving you examples of the cases I seen. I didn't look at him. I didn't look at, not him, I didn't look at the mom of the daughter that was murdered. I didn't look at her mama like she had a mental problem. I could see forgiving. And I also looked at how when she left, she didn't touch the murderer. She just stood right in front of him and just forgave him. But she didn't touch him. She wasn't mushy. This fucking man still took her daughter out of here, raped her daughter in a field and murdered her daughter. So she showed me that she was courageous by going up there. She forgave him, but she kept her hands off that creepy bastard too, because that's still somebody that raped and killed her daughter. Okay, so in that case, I didn't see that they had a mental problem, because for one, they had boundaries. Boundaries, y'all. But the other black woman with the head gang member dude, she's so fucking gone in the head. She done read Matthew every damn night, love thy enemies, and she damn near acting like she wanna fuck the gang member that killed her damn son. Now that was some sick ass shit. The bitch is crazy. So remember this. I'm sweethearted. So if I think it's too nice, it's too nice. Because I'm the type, if I had $8 million, I'd give you $1 million if I could. If you had a good reason that you needed that money and you needed to save your house and you my family or somebody I love, now let me say 20 million, y'all, not 8. I don't know. Giving away 1 million and I only have 8, that's not adding up right. If I had 20 million, okay, 250,000. Okay, let me cut the amount. Because I mean, I didn't get 20 million or 8 million giving $1 million away. Let's be realistic. So if I had $20 million and you needed 250,000 to save your house, and you my daughter or son or relative or something like that, I'll give it to you. So I just want you to know I am a giving, loving person. However, I ain't got no damn mental problem. Not that kind of mental problem. You're not gonna see me at the damn prison hugging the motherfucker that murdered my family and all rubbing up on his dick and shit. I'm not fucking crazy like that. That's some weird ass shit. And I think it's ungodly. I think it's a certain way you need to be behaving when you forgive people too. It's a behavior that you should modesty. Like what I use with the white family, the white mom that was at the prison forgiving the white man because he did that. He raped and killed her daughter when he was young with his friends. She showed a boundary when she didn't touch his ass. So to me, she didn't have a mental problem. Because you ain't got to hug and, bump and grind somebody's pussy or dick to forgive them, y'all. You really don't. You ain't got to get a hotel for the night to forgive them. That's not right. That means you got a mental problem. And it also means that your motive is something else. Your motive ain't forgiving no damn body. Your motive is something else. It just is. The motive ain't right. And people can pick up on it, and they think people, do you know how many people, I'm talking about sweet, kind-hearted people, that was watching that black woman forgive that head gang member dude that's still raping and fucking up people in there? Her time would have been better used to put a stop to him. So, okay, to me, her not having a mental problem would be, for one, acknowledging he doesn't deserve a visit yet because he's still raping and harming and doing stuff like that in prison. I would have spent my time putting a stop to his fucking ass because I would see him as someone that is going to end up killing somebody in prison like he did my son. To me, her time was wasted. She's spending the time on the sociopath. And I'm going to call him a sociopath instead of a psychopath because I don't think he was born that way. He was raised in gangs since he was a child. Like he was recruited into a gang before he was even a teenager. He was the head of a gang by the time I think he was about 12. He was like the head gang member, committing all kind of crimes. Really dirty business, y'all. And so, yeah, so to me, her time was wasted, and it just showed she had a mental problem. And I'm not the only one. You can leave a comment, but you might know the case I'm talking about. And like, yep, I saw that. I think she had a mental problem too. That other one that they can't diagnose you with, you too nice mental problem. Because she treated that head gang member that had murdered her son like that was her son. And really, another thing that showed she was mental too, she treated him like he was like a teenager. That's another thing. When you treat people like they still younger than what they are, like with my mama's other daughter. If I continue to call her sis and stuff like that, as if she's like 10 years old, y'all, and I'm 15. You know, it just, she's old. She knows better. She's responsible for how she treats people. I'm going to make her responsible for how she treats me because I won't be calling her sis no more. I just won't. Stop loving people that don't want the love. I have too many people that call me sis and I call them sis. And I just don't have that problem with people. And stop blaming it on their mental problem too. The mental problem they could be diagnosed with. Stop doing that. They just don't like you. You can't make people like you. I'm so grateful that I don't have to live around that. It's amazing how the Lord, when you look back at things, especially with my empathy, I could actually be living down there, and me and her might be living in a house together. You know what would be the worst thing? This is the worst thing that can happen to somebody too, is when someone's just calling you sister or brother just because they're living in your house. That's the only reason they're calling you sister and brother. The advantage in this case is me and my mama's other daughter, because that's what I told you I would call her. I'm sticking to that, y'all. The advantage is because I'm out of town and I am not a major supply source for her. I'm not paying her bills, providing for her. I don't provide her a home. She has her own home, her own job, and all of that. She gets to really tell me how she's really feel. Now imagine this. Imagine if I had never moved away from St. Louis, Missouri, and I was allowing her to roommate with me. I could be staying in her house with her, or she could be staying in the house with me. Just say we both on the lease. Me and her both on the lease, splitting the bills. And she calling me sister. She even calling me real sis. But she's only doing it because I'm a supply source. You see how the Lord's so good? The Lord made sure I wasn't in that situation. Because when you're away from somebody, they can show you how they really feel about you, y'all. They can. And so that's just such a blessing that I get to understand that she don't look at me like that. And it's okay. It's just what I want to teach is you not to have this mental problem. And you're using, remember, logical thinking. The definition of logical thinking is analyzing a situation or problem using reason and coming up with a potential solution. Logical thinkers gather all the information they can, assess the facts, and then methodically decide the best way to move forward. Oh, and I'm going to bring up another thing, y'all. I mentioned the narcissistic man that clicked in on my line while I was talking to my sister. And I told him I was on the phone with my sister. This is what I told him. Because at this point, I wasn't calling my sister my mama's other daughter. Okay, I wasn't doing that. So I told him I was talking to my sister. And that ain't his business. Like, I may never say that to him. However, that man, he used to make comments, especially when I cared about him. Oh, you so crazy, this and that. But he don't say that no more. Because he sees I don't have a mental problem. When I told that man, I'm on the phone with my relative and got off the phone with that man and didn't call that man back, he knows that I don't have a mental problem. Them kind of people, they think you have a mental problem and you crazy when you like they ass. And at the end of the day, there's no real winner in this. I will develop tactic so that I can remain happy and so that I'm not letting someone else's misery and rudeness overtake me. But there's no real winner because you shouldn't be in a race. However, this is what narcissists and sociopaths are so good at, y'all. Psychopaths too. My sister's not a psychopath. However, what she's doing is antisocial personality behavior. It is, but she's not a psychopath. But that behavior that she's displaying is still personality disorder. Okay. So at the end of the day, this is what, even if you say, okay, it's narcissistic, however, we can't put it on a personality disorder because a person has a right to not want to be connected with you in that way. She has a right to not really want to be bonded to me as a sister and it not even be antisocial personality disorder. She has that right. However, I think it's personality disorder in some sense. It's just it's weird ass behavior. I ain't never heard nobody that's in contact with their real brothers or sisters that I know of say some crazy ass shit like that. So it's fucked up. It's not normal. Ain't nobody ever treated me that way. But this is how sociopaths, narcissists, narcissistic people, they not full narcissists, but narcissistic people, miserable people, and psychopaths, this is what they best at, y'all, with empaths. And people that are being kind to them that have empathy, even if you're not a full-blown empath, this is what they so good at, y'all. Getting people to lose feelings for them and continuing to do the rude, negative, toxic behavior to people that love them, that genuinely are trying to do right by them, running people off, and making people lose feelings for them. And you also have a mental problem when somebody that's your sibling, that's your flesh and blood, whether y'all got the same mama or daddy, I don't even care if you adopted them. If I had an adopted brother or sister and we called each other brother or sister all these years and they changed it all of a sudden, it's not normal or logical in the event of their death to be crying every damn day for months. That's weird, y'all. You got a mental problem when you do that too. You have a mental problem when you sit up and cry over people that discarded you, didn't like you, called you out your name. You got a freaking mental problem when you do that. It's not logical and it's mental. I've done it. I did it before. I cried over my mama a lot. And she didn't completely have our back our whole life. My grandmama did. But I cried over my mama a lot. But you know what? I shouldn't be doing it with nobody else. My mama gave birth to me. So if I want to cry over my mama, that's fine. And be sad because I miss her and stuff like that. I don't cry no more because I've healed. That was so many years ago my mom passed, y'all. But now since I know what narcissism is, and I know what a psychopath is and a sociopath and someone that's narcissistic, since I know about personality disorders and I have experience now, it's not normal to cry over these people that was mean to you. It ain't. When you sit up and you cry over your abusers when they pass away, people that let you know, some people do it with their daughters and sons. They tell them. The person can look just like them. They look them right in the face and say, you ain't my real daughter. You ain't my real son. Some parents know it's their child and don't even make an effort to see the child. In those cases, you break up with the baby daddy when you're pregnant, okay? I'm talking about especially men that, and I'm going to specify the men because the woman carries the baby. So she's going to see the baby at least the first day. She sees the baby the first day, even if she gives the baby up for adoption. She has an opportunity to see the baby because she gives birth to the baby. But say, for example, that the man knows that's his baby and never chooses to make an attempt to see the baby ever, and now the baby 20 years old, all grown up, that would be crazy And that son or daughter that dad did that to would have a serious mental problem to keep crying over their daddy that never tried to see him. The true reason of crying when people die, y'all, is because you miss them. The Bible say, let the dead die. That's telling you right there, you're not supposed to be crying. So to me, grieving tears are because you miss them. They're not at home. You sad. If you in the house with your friends and family, y'all see each other every single day. You have a good relationship. You give hugs. You tell each other you love each other. You're there. You take walks together. You hang out together. You eat together. You cook together. You got each other's back in all areas. And they pass. You miss them. That's why you crying, because you miss them. And that's when you need grief therapy. That's the real purpose of tears. You miss them. You wish you could hear their voice. Sometimes you don't have their voice recorded. That's why it's so important, y'all. If you really love somebody, record their voice. I think that helps in a lot of grieving. Because when you miss them, you can push play and listen to them. If I passed away, you could still listen to my videos and remember me. And, you can show that you miss me or miss my voice or what I had to say, my funny sense of humor or whatever. I know sometimes y'all laugh when you're hearing these videos, because sometimes if I preview the video, I laugh. So somebody else got to laugh, because sometimes I laugh at myself. And when I do that, that's how I know it's a good video. When I can preview my video before I upload it and I laugh, I understand that somebody's going to like this video. So this is the process I'm going through. And it makes me feel a different kind of way about my mama's other daughter. It does. And it's not like a sister. It's not like a sister bond. Because that's not what it's meant to be. It's not meant to be. It's like she's a good friend. Just a good friend. That's the way it feels. Because I don't have a mental problem. And I really want to thank the Most High for how he, the Most High and the Lord made sure I wasn't hurt. See, the Lord know my heart. So the Lord made sure I wasn't hurt when that mentor that I've known since he was a preteen came in that restaurant while I was being told not to call her even by her first name. I feel sorry for her. At the end of the day, my mama's other daughter, she'll always be someone I have compassion for, and I feel sorry for her. I do. I just thank the Lord. I know how to love. I'm going to continue to love those that want to receive the love, because I don't have that mental problem. My mental problem is just not in that area. And some of y'all might want to consider not claiming them other mental problems they gave you. Yeah, you got a little anxiety. Oh, well. All that stress disorder, I believe a lot of that other stuff, bipolar, stress disorder, all of those diagnosed mental problems, that stuff can be healed too. Especially when people free themselves of drug addictions. A lot of those disorders are coming from drugs and alcohol, y'all. That's the bottom line. So I'm teaching you, y'all. Relate to me right now, y'all. You ain't gonna have that mental problem that you can't be diagnosed with. Making somebody make a fool out of you. That's the mental problem right there. They making a damn fool out of you. If I was to call that woman, my mama's other daughter, sister, one more time, I would be letting that woman make a fool out of me. If I didn't have the ability to even cut back and protect my loving heart, I'm letting somebody make a fool out of me. Don't do that, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. I love y'all so much. Thank you. Bye.